Hey there, friends. Millicent St. here again. And I'd like to talk with you now about intelligence. The renowned Harvard psychologist Howard Gardner said, "You're not just intelligent, but you have different kinds of intelligence." And it's important for us to understand really just how powerful we are. Now, I want to tell you what the intelligences are. But he says normally we have two or three that we prefer. We have preferences and we have strong suits and we get locked into two or three. But we've got this whole range of possibilities and this undeveloped potential. And we need to understand that so that we can start to grow and expand, so that we can become well rounded and become real Renaissance type person where we're developing expertise and skills in a lot of different areas, not just locked into a couple of them. So that's what the conversation is really about. So let me tell you what they are. The first one is linguistic intelligence. That's reading, writing, and speaking. That's all things words and communication. Then there's logical mathematical. So that's a lot of analysis and deductive reasoning and so forth. Very powerful skill set. And then there's visual spatial. These are the artists of the world and the architects that can see the blank canvas or the barren land. And I see the vision. And then they can make it come into manifestation. I just love that. And it's been said that the greatest nation is imagination. So visual spatial is really important. Then there's bodily kinesthetic. We have a body. Some people really love working with the body and with the hands, athletes and dancers, and there's even a mechanic, okay, taking things apart and fixing things, carpenters. A dentist, a surgeon. Wow, man. So that's a particular skill set. Really something, isn't it? Something to think about. And then there's interpersonal intelligence. That's people who love to talk and communicate with others. Okay. They're people smart. They're people persons or people persons. Yeah. Get along with others. That's something. And then there's intrapersonal intelligence. That's when we're self smart. People smart, self smart. And I'm going to come back to that one. And then there's musical intelligence. And I play the flute, by the way. And so when we're playing a musical instrument, we're actually using more of the intelligences or many of the other intelligences at the same time. And then there's, let's see here, naturalist intelligence. And I like to use this for green thumb. Some people, they love growing things in the outdoors, and others are like, I can kill a plant. But this is all things nature or environment, whether it's astronomy or geology, whether it is landscaping or farming or animal husbandry. My husband and I, by the way, we are avid gardeners and we spend more time outside than we do inside. And we love all things nature, but that's a faculty that we have developed. And we absolutely have grown to really appreciate it, learning about plants and the seasons and the zones that we live in and so forth. It's just incredible, but it's an intelligence that we have worked on and cultivated. And then there's, let's see, now, so we've got linguistic, logical, mathematical, visual, spatial, bodily, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalist, and then there's existentialist. It's like you are here on the map, and then there's everything else in the world and the universe, and we're in it. We're a part of it. And our growth and our evolution makes a difference. So it behooves us to learn as much, to grow as much, to keep expanding because it makes a difference and it's a contribution to the whole. So congratulations for being in the game as a learner and as a lifelong learner. And I like to say lifelong lover of learning. Now, when you're engaged in any course of learning with learning strategies, materials, we certainly honor all the learning styles, making sure to accommodate the visual learners, the auditory, and the kinesthetics, because there's always an exercise. You got to do the thing. You got to take ownership. So that's important. And we want you to be aware of the multiple intelligences. And we always try to make sure we incorporate at least 3 or so of them. But we want you to expand. But to the intrapersonal intelligence, let me speak about that a little bit more. This is important, and it's important for you to be aware of because the whole world doesn't revolve around you, but you are the center of your own universe. Are you not? You are. Yeah, it's all about who are you? What do you want? Who you are today is not the same person as 5 years ago, or 5 months ago, or 5 weeks, or 5 days ago. You're always expanding. And what you want is always changing as well. So we have to think about those things deeply, that intrapersonal intelligence. And that's about self knowledge. And it's about self motivation and what? Self esteem. Okay. And introspection. We got to be willing to look within. I love this book by Brene Brown. I love her work, period, because this one here is daring greatly. But she talks about vulnerability. And we've got to be willing to be vulnerable with ourselves and with others in order to grow. In other words, we have to be willing to be open and allow ourselves to be fully known by others. That is a powerful kind of intelligence. Now, a couple tips on how to develop that intelligence. Number one, self-reflection. We got to be willing to reflect and reflect on whatever it is we're learning. Because a lot of times we'll learn something, but then we don't stop to really reflect. What did I really learn from that? What did I get from it? How is this relevant to me? Think about it. Reflect. Journal. Take some notes on it. That's a skill set to develop. Journaling. The morning pages, in the artist's way. Journaling and self-reflection. The other one is personal connection, because we've got to be willing to make a personal connection to the stories, the information, and again, internalize it and make it our own. I've taken in so much information that I can think about things, and I do very deeply. I search my soul, and then I think about things, and I hear teachers in my head helping me through the challenges or whatever the situations are, and that information's in me. It's there. It belongs to me. And I make it my own. Then there's the progressive sessions that Learning Strategies offers, like with the paraliminals. At the onset, you get to set a purpose. Dr. Sheely guides you to, and what is your purpose for this learning session? So you get to say, nobody can establish that for you. That is the intrapersonal intelligence. And I want you to recognize it as such. And then there's meditation, in whatever way that works for you. But we recommend that, certainly. And then just mindfulness. So as a little challenge, I want you to do a little homework, do a little research on intrapersonal intelligence, what it means to you, and how you can develop that faculty and become more self-smart, not just with a topic and information and knowledge, but really, how can I become more as a self-aware being, that deeper aspect of knowingness and connectedness. So with that, I'd like to leave you with a little quote from Howard Gardner, who says, I want my children to understand the world, not because the world is a fascinating place, but because the mind is curious. And I want them to know how to find their place in the world because they have mastery of their faculties and the mind. And I wish that for my children. I wish that for all children. And I wish that for you. So with that, let me say thank you for listening, and I'll see you again.